Hello. It's good to see you. I don't normally see you on Fridays. We don't normally get together like this on Fridays, but I had a little bit of gossip to share with you. Hypothetically, maybe, theoretically, some gossip. Maybe true, maybe not. Who knows? You know how I like to write stories and stuff like that. So, who's to say? I just wanted to give you a little update on a couple of things that may or may not have happened in the neighborhood. I know a lot of y'all like to see these gossip videos. You like to know what's going on. So today was kind of a monumental day in the neighborhood, and I thought I would share a little bit of that with you today. Even though we don't normally get together on Fridays, that's okay. So, where were we when we last talked? I don't remember. Who were we talking about? Oh, who was it? Right. Crazy lady. Now, you might be wondering why I have this big binder. What's that? Well, we'll get to that. Hypothetically. So if you don't know, if you've never seen one of these gossip videos before, they may be true. They may be partly true. They may be all made up. We'll never know. I've been telling you that I have a neighbor who's crazy. I mean, she's crazy. We call her Crazy Lady. That's not her real name. My first encounter with Crazy Lady was in July of 2020. I was outside watering my front lawn, not saying anything to anyone, and she came marching down my street and came over and just started screaming at me, standing right in front of my house about 10 feet away from me, screaming at me. And it was absolute gibberish. And it was the most surreal moment. And it was one of those moments where you're wondering if you're on candid camera or something, if you're of a certain age and you even know what the hell candid camera is. It was bizarre, is what I'm saying. It was totally bizarre. She was screaming at me about a World War II vet and someone who beat cancer. And it just went on and on, but she was really angry. Like, she was just screaming at me. And then she just walked away. And that was it. And she told me to have a good effing day, and then she just left. And so that was my introduction to Crazy Lady a little over 5 years ago. It's pretty safe to say that things have escalated since that time. Now, for years, for at least 2 years, we tried to ignore her because that's what everybody told us. Just ignore her. She'll leave you alone. She'll get bored with you and she'll go bother somebody else. No, she did not. She did not. So Crazy Lady would come walking down our street, and she would just start screaming and shouting and cursing at anyone outside. And everyone else on the street would go back in their house and shut the door until she left, until she went away. Well, I wouldn't do that. If I was outside and she came and screamed, I just stayed outside and continued doing what I was doing because no one is going to run me into my own house, hypothetically. I think that irritated her, and I didn't really care, but I think it bugged her that I wouldn't go back in the house. And my kids would kind of do the same. And it got to where if they heard her screaming at me, they would go out there and stand there with me. Like, we're not going anywhere. And it really seemed to upset her. I wasn't trying to upset her. I'm just simply not going to be run into my own home by anyone. So, and we were the only ones on the street who did that. Literally everyone else on the street just goes inside and hides from her until she goes away. So, things went along like that for a while. We completely ignored her. I haven't spoken a word to her in at least 2 years. Not one word. And with anyone else, over time, you're right, they probably would get bored and move on to someone else. If anything, it made her more angry. It didn't make her go away. It made her worse, hypothetically. It's just gossip from the neighborhood. So, I don't remember where we left off the last time we were here talking about the neighborhood. And I'm not going to talk about anybody else today. This incident kind of overshadows everything else right now. So so if I were to make up a story, like let's say we're making up a story right now, I might start documenting things that the person had done with dates and information. I think I did mention the last time that we spoke that we found out that she has a presence on a social media platform. She actually has a presence on several, and we became aware that she was posting information about us, my two children and me. She had been doing some research on me and my kids, one of whom is a minor, and was posting our personal information on multiple social media platforms, and has apparently been doing so for quite a while, because we did a little bit more looking around at some of these pages, because hypothetically she has a friend who lives on a nearby street, who is apparently friends with Crazy Lady, but saw and is friends with her on these, she follows her on different social media platforms. She became aware of what was being said about us by Crazy Lady and started to get really concerned. So they reached out to us, unbeknownst to Crazy Lady, to tell us, hey, look, you don't know me, but you really need to look at this. Now, we knew about one of the platforms. We did not know about the others. Hypothetically. Theoretically. So we started looking into it, and it got really creepy really fast. There is so much that she put out there. We believe she has been paying for searches. Like, there are these paid sites you can go to look up information about people. We believe that she did that and found all kinds of stuff about me and my older son and my younger son and relatives of mine, ex-spouses of mine. Hypothetically, we do believe she has contacted some of these people because she got their phone numbers, was calling a couple of people, at least that we know of, to try to get more information about us, pretending to be someone else. So when we found out this information, now she didn't know that we knew any of this because, as I say, we don't talk to her. We started capturing this information through screenshots, and we would archive things and, just keep a record of all these things that she was posting about us. And if I were to do this, I would, theoretically, hypothetically, maybe start keeping a little Word document with all this information in it. She, as of, for example, by June 15th, on these different platforms, she had posted over 150 photos that she had taken of us on our property, from her property or from the street, photos of our cars, photos of our drivers, our license plates, personal information, dates of birth, places of employment, former residences, former addresses where we had lived, former spouses in my case, family members, putting all their addresses out there, my parents' dates of birth, my parents' names, cities of residence, their parents' names, dates of birth. She's done a lot of research. She's done a whole lot of research. And it's all out there. Not anymore, hypothetically, but it was. So I found out all of this, and we are just gathering information. There was a point, the first time I noticed something on June 18th, she changed her profile picture on every single social media platform to a picture she had taken of me in my front yard when I think I was out checking the mail or something. And I don't know if she was hiding in the bushes. I don't know where she was. But she got a picture of my face, and it's really grainy because she had kind of blown it up really big. She made it her profile picture and left it there for several days now. She does change her profile picture every few days to just different things. She has had both of my children up as her profile pictures she had taken of them in front of our house. That's not creepy at all. That's something that totally sane people do all the time. Yeah, she's had pictures of all three of us as her profile pictures on multiple social media platforms. Now, then there were the phone calls. As I said, she may or may not have found out where I work and has called. I now have 6 voicemails that she has left for different people. She did research on the company that I work for. She claimed to have found the information where I worked online, which I think, again, it was probably part of a paid search, something that she paid for. She found out who my supervisor was at work and has called my supervisor now probably 10 times, trying to get me fired, screaming and cursing and demanding that they fire me. And if my supervisor won't fire me, she'll get my supervisor fired. And telling them, one of the things she says a lot is that my younger son put something to a child's head, which I don't know where that came from, but she keeps saying that was something that my son had done. That's never happened in any circumstance has he ever done anything like that. But she keeps telling people that where I work that is something that I did, and I allow underage children to drink in my home. I allow underage children to use drugs in my home. And we are over here smoking cigarettes and drinking outside of the house, which there's none of that going on here. My home is probably the most boring home you will ever go in. There's not a lot of exciting stuff going on here because I like my peace and quiet, which, makes it's kind of hard to have peace and quiet with a neighbor like this, hypothetically. July 18th. Okay, so hypothetically, maybe. At about 2:30 in the morning on July 18th, I heard her screaming right outside of my house. And so I heard her through my window right here, and I opened the window and I looked out and she saw me and she ran away. Well, about an hour later, she posted pictures taken in the dark of my son's car right in front of the house. She was out there taking pictures in front of my house at 2:30 in the morning, and something set her off and she started screaming and just cursing. And I'm not going to say what she said. Just screaming and swearing and carrying on. And she likes to scream out my name. She yells my name a lot. I didn't hear my name that night. I just heard her out there just screaming, just like she does that a lot. She will stand out in front of her house and just scream. And if you've heard any of the clips of it, it is very unnerving. I mean, if you follow my other channel, you may have seen a couple of clips or heard a couple of clips of her doing it. It's very unnerving. Hypothetically, it really is. So she was out there taking pictures and something got her riled up and she started screaming. And that's what woke me up. And then when she saw me, I guess she saw me maybe open my window or turn my light on. And she ran away, scurried away like Gollum, because that's what she reminds me of. I had tried in the past to get a restraining order against her for the stuff that she's said and done. And I think we talked about that previously. That the judge that we had said I was partly responsible for her behavior because I was recording her in front of her house and therefore I was provoking her. And I tried to explain that, she does this stuff whether you record her or not. I'm just documenting it we've had several different officers tell us to do that when she starts to spiral the way she does, to record it, just to document it. And the judge didn't want to hear that. I did not get it. So after that, my theory is, so I didn't get it. My theory on this is she got really cocky after that and started to think she could just do whatever. And she would walk down the street and scream at me about the fact that the judge didn't give me a restraining order. and said I was a liar, and it's just awful that I even tried to get a restraining order. How dare you? It was after that that we found out about all the social media stuff. So that it was in toward the end of May. So it was on over right at the beginning of June when we found out about everything, all the social media stuff. And so we started to document it. And it just kept going and going and going. She was posting obsessively. I mean, sometimes 10 to 20 different things a day on these different platforms. She was taking pictures of us all the time. You really couldn't even go outside of my house without getting your picture taken. I mean, she was just out there all hours of the day and night, like in her window, taking pictures of us out the window. And she mentioned in one of the posts that she climbed up on her roof to get a better picture of me. And I would show it to you, but there's personal information posted in this wall of text with the picture. She literally said she climbed up on her roof to get a better angle so she could get me at a better angle for her picture. And it's a picture of me in my front yard. That came after this. So, okay, I have to tell you about the court date in July. So I had all this information. So I filed more paperwork to try to get a restraining order again. So we get there for the hearing, and she was there, and we waited for our turn. We sat in the courtroom for over an hour, and she sat there quietly the whole time. It was a different judge. It wasn't the one we had before. It was a different judge. And right when our case was called, I mean immediately as soon as our case was called, she stood up and said, "I'm having a medical emergency. I require immediate assistance." And everybody's just, what? What? And then she said it again. "I'm having a medical emergency and I require immediate assistance." So everything had to come to a stop. They called an ambulance. And hypothetically, they came and the EMTs came up with the stretcher and they checked her out. And so the judge said, we're not going to be able to hear this today. We're going to have to continue it because of the medical emergency. But she claims to have a medical emergency. We have to continue it. So we continued it. And it was going to be quite a while before we could come back. Now, this was last month, back in July. So, whatever. I could not believe it. I had a feeling something would come up. Something would happen that would cause it to not get heard. I had a feeling. I said, it's not going to go forward. Something will happen. I didn't expect that. But hypothetically, so my younger son was with me because he's been a witness to a lot of stuff because he's been at home this summer and she comes down and just screams at the house. And if he dares to go outside, she will come down and scream at him. And so he's been a witness to a lot of stuff with her over the summer. So he wanted to be there in case, the judge wanted to hear anything from him. When we walked out of the courtroom, this made me angry. I'm sorry. This made me so angry because I have to take time off work. Every time I have to go to court, I have to take time off work to go. We come out of the courtroom and there was a bench right there near where you come out, and she was sitting on that bench with an EMT beside her checking her blood pressure or something. We came walking out and she looked up at us with the biggest shit-eating grin you've ever seen in your life. Just grinning, just because she knew that we knew what she had just done. There was nothing wrong with her. She was fine. She was totally okay, but they had to take it seriously. If someone claims to have a medical emergency, they have to take it seriously. So it was postponed, and she was really tickled with herself for being able to do that. And 2 days later, my older son and I were outside. He had just recently purchased a truck, and we were in the driveway just looking at him, just checking it out. And she comes walking out of her house. She saw us out there in the yard, of course, took pictures of us out there as she always does. And she came walking out of the house. Oh, we can hear her. Her house is approximately 150 feet from ours. She comes walking down the driveway and stops and said, yeah, had him call the ambulance. And guess what? When we go back, I'm going to do it again. And then she just turned and walked back in the house. I wasn't recording her. I can't prove she said that. My son and I both heard it. She came outside just to tell us that and to go back in the house. This was 2 days after court. And I can't prove she said that, but she did, hypothetically. So I was thinking, okay, all right, I will just make sure to tell the bailiff when we go into court, when we go back. I'm going to make sure to tell somebody that she said that. Whether they want to believe me or not, I just want to say for the record, that's what she said she's going to do. She's going to claim to have another medical emergency and get it continued again. All right, just a moment. I have to look at my notes of if I were to write a story about this, what would I say? All right, so that was near the end of July. She kept calling my place of business. She called my supervisor multiple times. She's left several voicemails. She has found out, she did research on the company I work for. She found out where the head office is, the president, the CEO, the CFO, like managing partners and stuff like that. She got their names and phone numbers, and she has called, I believe, just about all of them, at least once, to tell them about me and what a terrible person I am and how they need to fire me. And she's disappointed that they haven't done that yet, because she's given them all this proof that I'm a terrible person. I allow underage drinking and drug use in my home, and I'm a shitty person. Why do you still employ this woman? And so she's very upset that I still have a job. So she comes out of the house and screams a lot. A couple of weekends ago, maybe 2 weekends ago, my son was out trying to mow the yard, and she came down the street and started screaming at him while he was out there mowing the yard. So I went out there with my phone, and I had just had it. I was just sick and tired of this. So I grabbed my phone and I just marched right down to the end of my driveway and stood there and just did this. And I didn't say a word. I did not say one word. I just started recording her. My son turned the lawnmower off and he came and stood right beside me. I just recorded. I just stood there like this. And she stood there and monologued at me for 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Nonstop. It was absolute gibberish. None of it made any sense. She talks a lot about Army vets. She really talks about people being like different colored people. Like, she has to point out what color everybody is. My hair color, my son's hair color. She talks about that a lot. On and on and on. I didn't say a word, and she talked and talked and talked. I didn't say a word. My face was blank. If you're going to be out here harassing my son, I'm going to record it. I'm going to record you until you go away. And I don't want you to say I did anything to you. On and on and on, hypothetically, of course. So, the hard part, though, during the middle of this, though, she had her arms folded, and she's just talking and talking and talking to me, and talking and talking and talking to my son. Neither one of us said a word. We just let her talk. And she rattles off our license plate numbers to show. I think it's supposed to be an intimidation tactic. These are your license plate numbers. Here are the makes and models of your cars. I can't do a New York accent. She's from New York. I can't do it. I know your license plate numbers. I know what kind of car you drive. Your license plate number is blah, blah, blah. And your other car, the license plate number is this. I know what you drive. I know where you work. I know the address. And I know the president of the company. I talked to him. And we'll get you fired. Anyway, I'm not fired. I'm still very much employed. I'm very much employed. I'm good. But in the middle of all this, I was not expecting this. in the middle of it, she kind of uncrosses her arms and she kind of made a gesture. And I noticed she was holding a fork. Because I saw it for a brief moment. She just kind of did this thing and then she folded her arms back. And I about lost it because I was trying not to laugh because I wanted to just document everything. And I'm going, why the hell does she have a fork? Why are you walking down here with a fork? She had a fork in her hand. And then I couldn't stop thinking about why does she have, and I wasn't even listening anymore. Like, why does she have a fork? So she went to walk down the street and then she shows us the fork. And she goes, I was eating meat. That's why I have a fork. And she just walked down the street, but she kept talking. And then she came back and she monologued some more and then she went home. But I about lost it when I saw the fork. I don't know why. I think it was because it was such a stressful interaction that any little thing was just going to be absolutely bizarre. There was going to be any little thing that my brain wanted to break the tension, like, please let us laugh at that because that is legitimately funny. Like, don't laugh, don't make a face. Just silently stand here and record what she's doing. Don't do anything. But she's got a fork. Why does she have a fork? I don't know, but just record. We'll laugh about it later. So, she has continued to call my place of business and she screams at us. If you go outside, if you live in this home and you step outside of my house, you're probably going to get yelled at. I've been called everything you can imagine and probably some things you can't. She hates me. She is absolutely obsessed with my kids and me, and she really, really hates me. I've never done anything to deserve it. I promise you, I've never done anything to this woman. I haven't. So anyway, so we still have a court date coming up, right? And she said she was going to have another medical emergency. I think my theory on that is she was hoping that she was probably thinking she could just keep having medical emergencies until she got that one judge again. She was hoping to get the guy that we had that, didn't give me a restraining order. I think she was hoping if she just kept doing that, eventually we would get that judge again. I mean, I don't know. But we got there. So we had another court date. We did. We had another court date. But she didn't have a medical emergency, so my theory may be wrong, hypothetically. It was a totally different judge. It wasn't the one we had before. It wasn't the one that was there during the medical emergency. It was a different one. And we had to wait a bit for our turn. We were there for probably an hour and a half before our turn came up. And so we get up there and it's our turn finally. And I started to, state my case because I'm the plaintiff. So I'm stating my case. And the judge asked if I had any evidence. I said, yes, sir, I do. I have the voicemails where she's called my place of business. And he said, well, just tell me the gist of the voicemails. What did she say? And I'm thinking, oh my God, how do you summarize this woman? Because she rambles. I don't know how to explain how she does that. Truth is really stranger than fiction sometimes. You really have to hear it to fully grasp how she talks. And maybe one day I might read you a little transcript of it to give you a taste of what these voicemails sound like. I should do that. Maybe I'll get a transcript put together for you. So I said I have these voicemails and I have videos of where she's come down to my house and, I have video that my son recorded of her screaming at him in front of the house, harassing me in front of the house, all that. And then I said she's also posting things about us on social media. And I think he might have been thinking one or two things. No. This binder here, and for privacy reasons, I can't really show you much of what's in here. This is what she's posted about us since May of this year. Not even 3 whole months. Since probably the end of May. This is how much she has posted about us. And I printed it all out and put it in a binder. So I said this is what she's posted about us since May. And the judge just gasped. He said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yes, sir." And so he told me to give it to her to look at. He said, "Hand it, give it to the bailiff. The bailiff will give it to the defendant to look at." So it's on the table in front of her. She just goes, and she just literally just lifted it up and just went. And the judge said, "Ma'am, you might want to look at that." She said, "I did. I looked at it." "No, ma'am, you might want to look further." "I looked at it." "Okay. You sure you don't want to look at it anymore?" "I did look at it, Your Honor." So he said, "Well, hand it over to me then." So the bailiff took it over to the judge. I didn't really tell him about the contents of this binder because there's information in here that's not just about my kids and me. There's not. If you start opening, you open the binder and you start looking through these pages, first of all, you're going to notice there are hundreds and hundreds of pictures of me and my kids. And here's one where she literally says, "There you are. I took the picture from climbing on the roof to get a good angle of you." And then she states my full name. "Blonde with black 3-inch roots. That style is out. Your son used to have 15 inches of long hair. That's why people thought he was a girl." And then there's another post where she says, "I gather she's looking for a death wish," talking about me, "from her, all adults at her house." And then she states my address. "Tired of blondes and redheads and dark hair, vicious, death among them all." And then she posts pictures of she posts screenshots of my personal information that she found online, my license plate number, a close-up picture that she took of my face, and then 21 more pictures, like screenshots of my personal information that she got online. So the judge is seeing this, and he's looking through it. And I did state that she said she climbed up on a roof to take a picture of us, and that really pissed her off, and she said, "I did not climb up on my roof." And the judge pulls the page out and goes, "You literally said right here that you climbed up on your roof to take a picture of the plaintiff. And here's a picture of her in front of her house. You said that." She still denied it. But then here's what happened. This was crazy. Now, this is where everything took a very unexpected turn. Now, I deliberately did not tell him about this beforehand. I wanted him to discover this for himself. So once you turn past the climbing on the roof part, you get to a page that's not about me, and it's not about my kids, but it's posted on social media. It is detailed information and personal photos of the judge who denied the restraining order in May. She's been stalking that judge too. And there are pages and pages and pages of pictures and information, personal information about that judge that she's been putting online, like on social media, like she's been doing us. Oh, she's praising the judge, and that was her excuse because the judge saw all this, and he pulled a page out, and he held it up for her to see. He said, "What the hell is this?" Because he knows this judge. "What the hell is this?" "Oh, that's Judge blah, blah, blah. Love that judge. Great judge. That judge dismissed the case." And he's leafing through here, and he got to, like, he looked through 2 or 3 pages, and he just, he had a look on his face. He stood up, and he left the room, and was gone for about 20 minutes. He didn't say a word. He just got up and walked out. And was gone for about 20 minutes, and he left us all just sitting in there. And I'm going, oh my God, where'd he go? When he came back in the room, I was close enough to the clerk that I could hear he was talking to the clerk. And I heard him say, "You're going to get an email in about 2 minutes. Let me know as soon as you get it." And then he went and sat back down. And I thought, oh shit. Hypothetically, of course. So she's still sitting there at her table, and I'm at the plaintiff's table. And he continues leafing through the binder. And he's pulling out these pages about the judge. He said, "You realize this is stalking. This is stalking. Some of this could even be felonious. You do realize that." And she's just sitting over there babbling, and she starts talking about a World War II vet. And he asked her a specific question. Where did you get this information about the judge? And she starts babbling again. He stood up and slammed his hand on his table, and we all jumped. He slammed his hand down and told her to shut up. Everybody jumped. I jumped. Oh my God. He was furious with her. He was furious with her. And he said, you will answer my question. You're not going to say another word about anything else. You will answer me. But she wouldn't answer him. She wouldn't say where she got all this information about the judge. So he keeps looking through. He gets past the stuff about the judge, and he's reading there. So a lot of the stuff she posts, she will post just a wall of text, and it's just absolute gibberish. And she just goes on, and she has my kids' names in here. She has where my older son went to school, a place where my older son used to work. He doesn't work there anymore, but my younger son, information about his date of birth, his, my kid's father's name, his address. I could show you this one. This one has no text, but this is from August 11th. This is the picture that she took. This is when she had the fork and she was standing in front of my house monologuing to me about what a piece of shit I am. So here I am. I'm recording. There's my son. See, he was mowing, right? He was out here trying to mow. And that's one of the pictures that she took of us in front of our house. And she says, so she posted a whole lot about us on that date. The aggressive mother, 51-year-old, 2 redhead sons, aggressive, and then she gives their names. Put a gun to someone's head. You all enjoy the bus ride, and then she puts the exact location of the bus stop where he waits for the bus. And it just goes on and on and on and on, and it's just picture after picture with more and more text about me and my kids and my family and places I've lived, places I've worked. It just goes on and on and on. There, I have over 120 posts, like screenshots, and I have them archived that she has put on various social media platforms. She has personal pictures of the judge and the judge's family. So, needless to say, the judge was not, he was overwhelmed. He said, I have no words for this. But he said, you're going to get some help today. You're going to get help today, whether you want it or not. And the judge asked me, have you pressed charges against her? Have you pursued any criminal charges against her? I said, yes, sir, I have, but it hasn't really gone anywhere. I don't think she's been served with anything. And he said, well, I was going to tell you, if you haven't, you need to, because there is stuff in here this is felonious. This is felonious. You need to pursue criminal charges against her. Like, if I was going to tell you, if you hadn't, you need to go today and you need to press charges against her. This goes so far beyond just a restraining order. So I said, well, I did, but, nothing happened. Now, see, I don't really understand I don't understand how all this criminal stuff works. Now, restraining orders, that's civil. That's not criminal. I don't really understand how criminal stuff works. But I did go and I filed some stuff, but nothing really came of it. This was a while ago. And so he had the clerk look it up. I said, I'm sorry, I don't have any information on that right now. So the clerk looked it up, and he went over and chatted with the clerk very quietly. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but she called him over, and he came over, and they were talking about something. And then he left the room again, and he was gone for about 10 minutes. And he came back in, and again he asked the clerk, did you get that email? And she said she did, and they talked quietly for a minute, and he went and sat back down. And he's, telling me, I'm going to give you your restraining order. I'm going to give it to you for a year. And if I were to write a story with a happy ending, it would end with this right here. I finally got my restraining order. She is not allowed to come anywhere near my house. She is not allowed to speak to me or my kids. She's not allowed to call my place of business, go to my place of business, to go anywhere that I normally go. There are some other restrictions, but they're specific to this case, and I don't want to talk about it, but there are a lot of restrictions on what she can and cannot do. And while he was explaining all this, she was just staring at the clock. Like there's a clock up on the wall, and she's not even looking at him. She's just going, she's staring at the clock. And he said, "Ma'am, you might want to listen to me. You might want to pay attention." And she said, "Oh, I'm just looking at the clock." I said, "Why are you looking at the clock?" "It helps calm me when I get stressed. Because, it's 11:30 in the morning. People died. People died." And she started acting like she was crying or something, like, "Oh, shut up. People die." And he told her basically to shut the hell up. He said, "That's okay. You don't have to listen. It's okay. You're going to get copies of everything. You don't have to listen to me. It's fine. Just do whatever you need to do. It's fine." And while he was saying that, I noticed that a couple of sheriff's deputies had come into the courtroom from one of the back doors, and they were standing over kind of near the judge, and like they were waiting for him, and he whispered something to one of them. And he continues to explain to the two of us what their restraining order entails, what she can and can't do. And as he's explaining, I noticed that these two deputies have moved around behind the desks and everything over on the perimeter of the room. And they came to stand behind her chair. And the bailiff went over there as well. And you definitely got a feeling something was about to happen. So then the judge finished explaining the restraining order, and he cleared his throat, and he said, "So, crazy lady, we have a warrant for your arrest. So place your hands behind your back." And I heard the sound of the handcuffs, and it was the most surreal moment of my life. There was an outstanding warrant for her arrest based on what I'd filed. They arrested her right there in the courtroom. They put her in handcuffs, and they escorted her out. And she spent the night in jail. And she had a hearing the next day for the criminal stuff. She didn't make a scene. She didn't yell. She didn't scream. She just kept saying, "I wasn't on the roof. I wasn't on the roof." She lied. She lied. "I wasn't on the roof." She said something about, "I can't see that far," or something. She would not stop talking about that. But that was her defense, as she was marched out of the room in handcuffs, never to be seen again that day. But so the judge asked me if I could leave the binder for the criminal proceedings, and I said absolutely. So what I ended up doing, I ended up taking it to the district attorney's office along with a thumb drive of lots of video that I've taken of her over the last few months, all the voicemails, and all of my contact information. You are appointed an attorney when you pursue things like this, and I have spoken briefly with mine, and so it's a very slow process. Hypothetically, it will probably be a good long while before anything else happens with that, and that's okay. I know what she's been charged with. I'm not going to say, but she has been charged with some stuff. And I think that the judge that she was posting about may also press additional charges for that stuff, for what she posted about the judge, not me. But I don't know what that would entail. It's not really up to me. That would be up to the judge to do. But it may be quite a while before there are any more developments. But she's already back home. And she's furious, to say the least. She's absolutely furious with me. She's absolutely furious with all three of us. She's still screaming. But she's not coming here to do it. I just wonder how long it will be before she can't stand it anymore and she violates the restraining order. I think it's only a matter of time. I don't think she can go for a whole year without violating it. We'll see. We don't provoke her. We don't go to try to start anything with her. We're just living our lives. But I'm not going to stop living my life because she's upset. We are being very, very vigilant, as we have been for the last few months. Very aware. We have plenty of cameras, and we're going to invest in some more surveillance equipment. Trust me, I'm very aware that this situation is volatile and could turn into something really tragic very quickly. She is absolutely furious with us for doing this. She thinks it's an outrage that this has happened. Yeah, she's very angry right now. And I know that. I'm aware of the gravity of the situation. So if I'm laughing, it's not because I don't take it seriously. I absolutely do. But I wanted to let you know that if nothing else, at least I got a win. It only took 6 trips to court to get it, because there were several times I went and she hadn't been served and I had to go again. 6 trips to court, but I finally got what I wanted. So the criminal stuff will be, I don't know when that will be. That's okay. We'll get there one of these days. But I just wanted to give you a hypothetical update. Like if I were to write a story about something like this, it might go something like what I just told you. I know a lot of people have been asking me about it. You know, what's going on, if there have been any updates with her. Oh, yeah. So that is what has been happening with her. I am public enemy number 1 right now in her eyes. And if anything else happens, hypothetical or not, I will let you know. But that's all I have for you now. I just wanted to share my little victory. And hopefully this is a copy. So this binder is a copy. This is my copy of all the posts, and the DA has the other copy along with the thumb drive of videos and pictures and voicemails. All my communication with her over the last few months. Well, not my communication with her, but her stuff about me over the last 3 months or so. But at least it's something. At least somebody finally listened, because, you know, people say, oh, well, why don't you get the HOA to do something? Our HOA is really only good at taking our annual dues, and that's about all they do. They don't really do anything else. They're aware of the situation with her, but they've stayed out of it. Like they're not really any help. I did send a copy of the restraining order to the HOA president, so she would have it. Just so she knows that crazy lady, if she is spotted anywhere near my house for any reason, it doesn't matter if we're home or not, she can be arrested. And the judge made sure to tell her this. First offense of this restraining order, the first time you violate this restraining order, you will go to jail for up to 150 days. That's just the first offense. So don't play with me. Don't even play with this. You better take it seriously. And she's just sitting there looking at the clock. She wouldn't even look at him. It was, wow. She sat there like a spoiled little truculent child. Like, I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening. And when you get mad at me, I'll just act like I'm crying about something. Yeah, it was, she put on a real show, but she left there in handcuffs. So there's that. Anyway, I don't know what I did to deserve her as a neighbor, but whatever it is, I'm really sorry. I think we've done our time. I think we've suffered enough, but something tells me it's not over. I don't think it's over. No, I think there will be more. I do believe she will absolutely violate it, and I don't know how far she will go with it, but I think she will violate it. But I wanted to give you an update and let you know how it's been in my neighborhood lately. It's been very noisy and very loud. That's all I got for you. But hey, it's a little victory. I'll take what I can get. At least somebody finally listened, and we finally got somewhere. I just hate that it had to come to this to get somewhere, but at least we got there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my hypothetical neighborhood gossip session this evening. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.